Hey everybody, Johan here, back with another story. It's frigid outside here in northeast Pennsylvania, frigid. So I live alone. I'm 4 months past my 66th birthday, and I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. So disclaimers. I'm not a doctor. This isn't health advice. However, albeit nonetheless, I'm going to show you some of the supplements I take and one medication I was recently prescribed that improved my quality of life. I developed a theory maybe 4 years ago because I live in pain and chronic fatigue. I could sit in my house in pain, or I could do something in pain. What's the difference? The more I sit around or lay around and do nothing, the conditions that affect my quality of life are going to get worse. If I keep moving, what do I accomplish from that? You keep your blood circulating. When you keep moving, no matter what it is, you keep your blood circulating. In that blood is oxygen going to your brain and going to the affected areas. They need oxygen. Also, and it depends on what you eat, which is why I say I eat as nutritious as I can. When you keep moving, what you eat, the blood circulates and takes those nutrients to your brain and to those affected areas. So where do I need continuous oxygen and continuous nutrients? So in my neck, I've had it for years, decades. And it gets worse as you get older. I have degenerative disc disease with bone spurs in my neck. For years, decades, I've had degenerative disc disease in my lower back with bulging discs. I have arthritis now. That's worsened, especially the last 2 years. In both hands I have arthritis. I have arthritis in my right shoulder, and I have arthritis in both feet. I'm not ready to quit. I could sit in my house all day or lay around all day in pain, or I could push myself to get moving. Even if it's a half a block walk up, a half a block walk down to start with. And you'll find, and you could Google this. Here's what you Google, which is what I did years ago. The importance of exercise when you have arthritis. Google it. The importance of exercise when you have arthritis. Okay? I want to say 5-6 years ago, I was on bodybuilding.com and I saw something about bodybuilding for seniors. I've been lifting weights since I was, 12, 13, 14. I'm 66 now. And at several points in my life, I was like an amateur bodybuilder. Oh, wait. Lifting weights is very important. Now, I don't lift the heavy weights like I used to. And some days I need to use the weights I bought that are in a case for women. 2 pound, 3 pound, 5 pound. It's okay. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt my ego. And I really don't give a darn what other people say. It's my body. It's my life. I have a goal. So this book here, Gold's Gym, Training Encyclopedia. In here, it describes weightlifting, bodybuilding for every major part of the body. But not just that. This is why this book is important. And then I'll get back to the bodybuilding.com thing. Let's say you want to build up. Let's say you want to stay fit. You want to stay fit as you get older. It's important. And that goes to what I'm going to tell you I learned from a tech on bodybuilding.com. So, especially if you retire, you heard the stories, people retire, don't do much, and in 5-10 years they're dead. Well, they might die anyway, but depending on the age, they retire. Maybe they could have lived longer. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But in here are major muscle groups like biceps, triceps, shoulders, lats, your back, these things. And it describes the proper way to do those exercises. How your posture should be. Should your knees be bent a little bit? If you're doing biceps, it tells you exactly how to do those curls so you don't hurt yourself. Excellent book. So getting back to bodybuilding.com. At that particular time, I was having a little bit rough. So I saw something on there about seniors, and you could call. I don't know if you still could. And so I had, not personal trainers, but I would get advice. And here's what they told me. Of course, now we're talking about light weights. All right? So there were points in my 50s. There were times in my 50s when I could do dumbbell flies and shoulder exercises with 20, 30, 40 pounds. Those days are gone. It's more like 2, 3, 5, and 10. So let's just talk about the shoulder. My shoulder is crystallized with arthritis. And the way the tech explained it to me was, and this applies to other major joints in your system, your body. When you exercise the area around that affected joint, what you're doing is, when those muscles are strengthened, they're supporting that particular joint. So when I do shoulders, which includes traps and bicep curls, I'm supporting. I've strengthened my muscles through those exercises to support this area. When the muscles around my shoulder are strengthened, it helps with movement, because it's just not like the bone moving if your muscles aren't toned, okay? So when they're strengthened, now that shoulder has support. So there's that. Spinal stenosis I was diagnosed with about 4 years ago. And I get injections for it. Why? I want to keep moving. Let me describe to you what spinal stenosis, untreated without those injections, is like for me. It's like someone takes a fist, pushes it into the base of my spine and twists it and keeps pushing it all day long. And along with that, it feels like I have this thick rope wrapped around my waist, maybe it's 10 foot long, and I'm dragging 2 cinder blocks. It's hard to move. So there's pain, there's stiffness, and it's hard to move. So I get these injections. Excuse me. And they last 6 to 9 months, which my doctor said is amazing. To which I reply this. Because I'm able to do it, because of that Gold's Gym book and other research I've done to do proper exercises, like on an exercise ball. You get an exercise ball and it comes with instructions like there's 12 exercises. Well, I could do 3 or 4 of them that don't hurt me or make the situation worse. So here's the key. When that doctor said, it's amazing they last 6 to 9 months, I tell him that's because I do exercises to keep a good posture. It's like people quitting drinking. They get on a program that has spiritual exercises, spiritual exercises. Keep them going. The same thing is for my back, another treatment I get when I need it, which isn't as often as it was before. I could go 2 or 3 years without chiropractic treatments. Because when I get them, the longevity of keeping pain-free depends on exercises that keep good posture. So those treatments by themselves, in my opinion, in my assessment, are only as good as what you do afterwards. And if you have medical insurance that covers physical therapy, you don't want to exercise on your own or lift weights or whatever I'm talking about here, go to physical therapy. Now, people that know a lot about Eastern medicine, like I also get acupuncture, but that's Chinese. But before I get into that, people that are familiar with or experts in Eastern medicine, like Ayurveda, is homeopathic treatments that have been around for over 5,000 years from India. Acupuncture, Chinese, these things. But getting back to the point that people who are professionals will tell you how key posture is, where your spine is at. And when I say that is, posture-wise, that determines a lot about your quality of life, especially for someone like me who wants to keep going. I'm not ready to quit. Now, maybe somebody will leave a comment that knows more about the spine. Chi, I think there's something involved there. Chi, all these things. I just know good posture is key. I got that big exercise ball, right? So I sit on that, and I could do what are called core exercises that help my back and my stomach. Core. I'm hoping to get walking again. I had a really off year, but anyway, I see it happening. I see it happening. When I walk, like I might walk a mile or two, every now and then I'll stop and do 2 or 3 squats. If I walk a mile 2 or 3 times while I'm walking, I inhale through my nose for 4 seconds, I hold it for 4 seconds, and I exhale it for 4 seconds. Expands my lungs and does more than that. Well, if you're not able to walk, you could do squats. If you have to start with 1 a day, maybe 1 is all you could do. If you're able to do 1 squat, you don't have to go all the way down. Go far down as you could, then come back up. I'll guarantee you, if you do that once in the morning, if you could, if you do 1 squat a day for 5 days, you're going to notice a difference. So I'm starting all over again. To make a long story short, I needed those spine injections in April. The VA denied them. They denied me going to the chiropractor. So I had an off year. Plus, there were unusual weather patterns. Pretty much sat around, which I hate, because sitting around isn't good. It's not that I was totally sedentary. I have a dog that I'm responsible for. He's my friend. But because I have this dog, I have no choice to take him out 3 times a day. And that involves some kind of exercise, so that's good. And then, within the last month and a half, I started getting horrible fatigue. More than usual from the Lyme disease. I wasn't exercising that much, so my blood wasn't circulating like I'm used to. And so I had my testosterone levels checked at 66 years old. As you get older, from 40 on, you start losing testosterone, which to me is for energy. Quite frankly, at my age, there is no sexual dysfunction because there's no sex. So they said with this fatigue and other symptoms I was having, we want you to get your... Well, I asked them actually. I want my testosterone checked. Well, it turns out it was dangerously low. So I prescribed testosterone. It's a gel. I pump it on this arm, rub it into the shoulder and upper arm. I use those gloves like you find in a doctor's office. And then this arm, it's wintertime. When it gets summertime, I won't do that. I'll use my hands because then I'll get it into my hands as well. This was a game changer. Wow. You have a lot of fatigue, some brain fog. Well, that's part of Lyme disease. I've also been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So when I get flare-ups, I have no clue which one it is, because the symptoms are the same. Get your testosterone checked. 3 days before I started this treatment, my acupuncture therapist gave me these, which are available online. They're called Channel Flow by Health Concerns. Chinese herbs, right? So 3 days before I got the TRT gel, I started these. I don't know about you. So for me, I'm sensitive to supplements and medications. If it says it takes 5 days to start having an effect on you, it'll take 2 for me. 2 weeks to have an effect on you with this TRT. It'll take a week for me. So I started the Channel Flow. I noticed a difference. I started the TRT, and then I noticed a big difference. How do I notice a difference? I'll tell you how I notice the difference. It's because I pay attention to my body. And every morning, part of my spiritual path, spiritual maintenance, is to sit on my deck 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes longer. Every morning, first thing. So I sit there and I make assessments. You know, how's my body today? How's it feeling? What hurts the most? Okay. Now I could say, well, if a certain area is bothering me, I have treatments I could do on my own, like an ice pack. Well, it's a big gel pad for my lower back. That's typically something I have to do every morning either way. Takes away a lot of the stiffness in my lower back. I have an infrared gel pad. An infrared heat pad that I could use on my lower back and my upper shoulders. I have an H-wave device. H-wave device. It's kind of like a TENS unit. Google it. If you use a TENS unit, and that's it, Google H-wave device. It treats you in a different way. I also have, hold on. This is for my back. I have one for my shoulder. I have one that I could use on each foot, and my feet are filled with arthritis. It's from a company called Orthocor. Orthocor. So it's like a belt. Hold on. And I'm going to use this in a little bit. So, you see those areas there? You keep this belt charged. When you're ready to use it, you take these. These are the pods. They look like this. And I'm not going to do it this minute because once I do it, it's activated. I have to use it. So these pods are magnetic and will go right on that area. So you have 2 of them. You put them on, and then I put it around my back. This, I believe, sends some type of waves into the affected area. more so than the H-wave does. I use the H-wave for my lower back. I was talking to my acupuncturist one time. I said, my ass is dragging, right? Kind of like pulling two cinder blocks. And she said, use that H-wave device. Hold on, I'll get it for you. This is the one that's like a TENS unit, but it's a wave function, waves. But it treats you, I would say it's an improvement over a TENS unit. So, you have your two dials, then you have areas down here, and you can make adjustments high or low, and these dials indicate the intensity. And so I plug these ends into that device, and here's the pads. So one day my ass was dragging, like I had two cinder blocks. She said, put your H-wave device on. Whoa, whoa. What a difference. Do these devices take away the pain? Completely, no. My body's beat up, I abuse myself, But they relieve the pain enough that I could move, do exercises. Follow me? Here's something I use every morning. I've been using it for like 2 years now. I get it on Amazon. Master Blend. And it's mushrooms and adaptogens. Certified organic mushroom powder and botanicals. This improved my mind. Big time. Big time. The thinking clearer. Memory better. Right? Certified organic mushroom powder and botanicals. I don't monetize. And I'm not saying this to get you to view the channel again, but if you forget these things, go back, have a pencil and paper, and write them down, okay? Here's something I've been using for a long time. Probably 10 years. It's called beta-alanine. It's a supplement. I get it on Amazon. What this does is delays muscle fatigue. Beta-alanine. It delays muscle fatigue, which means you get a little bit more endurance. Okay? This works for me. You might be familiar with this. You might already use it. Maybe you don't. You can look up what are the benefits of Antarctic krill oil. It's good for a lot of things. Your heart, your joints, things like this. Okay? Okay. Oregano oil. Just Google the benefits of oregano oil. These are capsules, little gel caps. Just Google the benefits of oregano oil. Great for the immune system. If I remember correctly, they help reduce inflammation. Which so do these Chinese herbs, channel flow, among other things. Oh, this stuff's a game changer. I take this, L-arginine. I think that's how you pronounce it, L-arginine. I didn't prepare too much for this. I think I could say it simply, it increases your blood flow. That's a good thing. And last but not least, now I've always taken some type of supplement for the gut. Remember I mentioned Ayurvedic medicine from India, 5,000 years old. They've been using these supplements, let's call them, for 5,000 years. They call your stomach the second brain. It affects how you think. So I haven't used anything like this for a while. So I got the channel flow from my acupuncturist, and I purchased these. Then I got the TRT, and then I'm doing all these other things that I've been using. Zen-wise, okay? Digestive enzymes, and this particular brand has papain in it. P-A-P-A-I-N, a derivative of the papaya fruit. I'm not sure. But this also reduces the papain inflammation. But it has prebiotics in it, probiotics in it, for a healthy gut. I guess that's about it. I could sit in my house in pain, or I could push myself to do things in pain. Not so much pushing myself, getting the spinal stenosis injections, getting acupuncture treatment. If you haven't tried acupuncture, I highly recommend it. And getting chiropractic treatment. And as I said, the chiropractic treatment and the injections for spinal stenosis are contingent, to me, upon doing some type of exercise that helps improve your posture. If you're able to do exercises to improve your posture, you don't have to get those injections often. They last me 6 to 9 months. Chiropractor treatment, I think last year for some reason I had to go. And Doc says, man, keep doing what you're doing because you haven't been here in 2 years. This is how it goes. All right, so I think that's about enough. But if you have some type of hobby, okay? One of my hobbies is riding motorcycles for a lot of reasons. Not just because I like to do it. When I was first diagnosed with spinal stenosis, and I was talking to people about it, I was listening to what they had to say. There was a nurse that used to come to visit the elderly woman across the street. And I mentioned to her about it. I still have motorcycles. She said, when my husband was diagnosed with spinal stenosis, I told him, that's it, sell that Harley, you're done. Let me repeat that. And if you don't get what I'm talking about, watch that video from a couple days ago. My exercise bike, KLR 650. I just bought an adventure bike. So I mentioned to this nurse, her husband's the same age as me. I told her I was diagnosed with spinal stenosis, and she said, I told my husband he's selling his Harley, no more riding. A lot of other people told me something similar. They were told, no more riding. Sit in your recliner, watch TV all day, and eat crap. No more riding. Spinal stenosis does not affect my ability, or all these other things I have, does not affect my ability when these problems that I've explained to you that I'm diagnosed with, when they're treated, they do not affect my ability to balance a motorcycle. An 800-pound Harley, which I still ride, a 2007 Electroglide. And when I bought this adventure bike, this 2024 KLR 650, I have a thing. If I'm going to say I want to get another bike, I got to get rid of one I already have. I used to have like 8 bikes. I'm down to 4. So I got rid of this 250 XF SSR dual-purpose bike at the beginning of the year. I got a good deal on this KLR, but this is my point. I knew this was going to be a challenge. First of all, it sits higher even than that SSR 250 I had. So when I go to get on it, I really got to slowly bend this way and lift my leg over it. And the first time I did it, I was like, oh boy. I didn't say this was a mistake. I didn't say, boy, this was a mistake. You bought this bike. Listen to me. I did not say because I had to stretch my leg over to get on it. I said, man, that's a good stretch. That's why I call it my exercise bike for other reasons. So now at some point I'm going to have it lowered an inch. Only because I want to go on some trails. But now when I stop, I could stop with both feet, kind of like just the front of my feet on the ground, which is not easy for me because my toes are full of arthritis. Or I could just lean a little bit and my left foot is flat foot on the ground. I don't care what it looks like when I'm at a stoplight if I'm leaning a little bit with my left foot on the ground. It's my life. I don't care what you think I look like. Because I'm not going to quit. If I get it lowered an inch, which I'm going to, both of my feet are pretty much going to be able to be pretty close to flat foot. But I'm not going to go off-road now where I might be on a camping path. Got to go down on a dip. Being on tippy toes isn't going to work out if I have to put my foot down. Okay, so there's that. So watch that video. My exercise bike, KLR 650. If I just got you to think about where you're at with conditions like mine or similar to mine, and you're like, I used to do this. I used to do that. I'm not a woman hater. I'm not a wife hater. So when I say what I'm saying next, I'm just giving you an example. Or if you have someone that's saying, that's it, sell your motorcycle, that's it, no more playing golf. These things, right? You do with that what you want. I'm single and I'm going to stay that way because I haven't met a woman that totally understands where I'm at with my life. You know? When I get up the next day and say, hey, I'm going on my KLR, I don't need to hear, well, I don't think you should do that because, you know, when you came back yesterday, you were okay, but then in the evening, in the morning, blah, 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 blah. I don't hate women. You got to keep moving. All those things I described, most importantly, because it gets your circulation going, gets fresh blood, fresh oxygen and nutrients into your whole body, especially in those areas that are arthritic or otherwise that needs it. That needs it. There was something else I was going to say and I forgot. Oh. A lot of times I do things and I tell people, well, I walked this far today, or I did 40 decline push-ups instead of 20. Rode my KLR for 4 hours instead of 1. Man, I'm feeling it. And they'll say, you do too much. You don't know your limits. You do too much. You don't know your limits. Now, what I'm about to tell you is my response to that. I'm able to say that because I use all these supplements. I have these ailing conditions treated somehow with spinal injections, chiropractic care, or acupuncture. And I eat as nutritious as I can. And I'm not ready to quit. So when these people say to me, you do too much, you don't know what your limits are, I tell them this. How do I know what my limits are if I don't push myself? Because I do all those things I just described, you know what I found out? Your body and your mind, especially your body, is resilient if you do things properly, exercises properly. When I first got an exercise ball, I don't remember how long ago that was, and it had the instructions in there. There were like 10 or 12 different exercises. So I tried a couple movements of each one and found, well, I can't do these, but I could do these. Did you know? You know those big exercise balls? Did you know you can get a core workout just by sitting on them? Just sit on them because it's balancing. I never did that until recently. I was watching a video and the instructor was talking about what I just said. Just sit on an exercise ball and you'll get a workout because you're balancing yourself, all these things, you get a workout from the chest down. And I'm like, sit on an exercise ball? Yeah, right. I'll try it. I'll try it. I was on there like 2 minutes and I'm like, this ain't for pussies. I felt it. Did I say, oh my God, I can't do this anymore? I live by myself. So when I said, I probably said it out loud because I talk to my dog. We interact that way. Holy shit, Ace. I can feel this. It really hurts. So my dog doesn't say to me, but if I had a spouse or a significant other, they might say, throw that exercise ball away. That's enough. I don't want to be babied. I don't want to be reduced to sitting in a recliner all day or laying on the couch all day eating crap, watching TV. I know senior citizens, younger than me, 61, 62, that were disabled. All of a sudden they, for whatever reason, gave up. I know them purposely. I'm sorry, I know them personally. I don't know why they gave up. I know one thing. The spiritual path I follow, this spiritual maintenance I do, meditation. I mentioned how in the morning I make these assessments. So if my lower back's hurting, when I sit there and meditate and make the assessments, okay, my lower back hurts. I know what kind of back pain it is, and I say, well, I need an ice pack. The big gel pad I got on Amazon, I need to ice my back. Or I just need to do my infrared heat pack. Things like this. Keeping in shape at my age with all these conditions is a hobby now. And I look at everything as training now. Training. I don't say, oh man, I don't feel like it. I got to do the dishes. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not ashamed to say it. I have to sit in a chair a lot. Sit in a chair in front of the sink to do the dishes. It's a good thing. It takes a lot of strain off my back. And when I'm done, one, I'm happy I don't have that stress and strain on my back, that pain, number one. And number two, I got the dishes done. I feel good about myself. Same thing with housework. I mentioned this to my acupuncture therapist a couple years ago. I said, well, I'm not ashamed to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you because it's a problem. When I do housework, and I said it this way, when I do housework, I get crippled more than if I was lifting weights for 20 minutes. She said, yeah, I get that a lot from a lot of people. I forget what she told me then. Oh, she probably stuck a needle somewhere, to counteract that. And then I mentioned it to my chiropractor. He said, yep, I get it. I said, Doc, it's mostly when I vacuum. What I'm about to say, remember all these problems that I deal with, okay? The arthritis, all of that stuff. I'm not going to go through it again. I hate to claim them, but they're there. So I said, Doc, it's mostly when I use the sweeper. So I have this mini sweeper, and the long hose. I said, I don't know if I don't pick it up. I actually drag it a little bit. I drag it, where I'm going, by the hose. He said, here's what I want you to start doing. Be mindful and keep switching arms. Don't use the same arm. So I started doing that. It made a difference. I'm not crippled after I vacuum my floor. I hope this helped. If you're thinking, well, maybe I should consider doing this, talk to your doctor. If you go to therapy, and a lot of people go to therapy to deal with these painful conditions, mention it to them. I've been lifting weights all my life. I've been doing like amateur bodybuilding all my life. I was an amateur boxer. I was in the Army. I was in the Marine Corps. So I'm familiar with what activity, weightlifting, these things are all about. And when you get the approval, first, if you're around my age, 66, and it's about fatigue, get your testosterone checked. For me, it improved my mood. And I got more energy from it. This improved my mood. So you start your exercise program. Little by, I have to start all over again this year. Here's what I'm doing every day. You're talking to somebody that was, when I was in my late 50s, was doing like 3 to 5 hours of exercise a day. Hitting a bag, core exercise on the exercise ball, using that Gold's Gym encyclopedia to work all these different, there's like 8 to 15 different exercises you can do from that Gold's Gym book for each body part. Then I would walk 2 or 3 miles. Then I would ride a mountain bike on the side of the road for 2 or 3 miles. I was doing all these things. So now I have to start all over again. And I'm not like, oh, man, I gotta start all over again. I could only do 2 decline push-ups. I could only do 2 squats. But that's how it started. Remember I said I was walking 2-3 miles? It got to a point where I would walk my dog across the street and come back tired this year. So I get all these treatments, spinal stenosis injections, chiropractor, acupuncture. I had my testosterone level checked really low. Started that channel flow Chinese herbs. So now things are changing big time. I'm only walking a half a block up and a half a block back. And then I remembered a long time ago, that's how I started. Did that for a month or 2, then it was walking a whole block. This past week, 2 times, I walked my dog around the block, which was like 15 minutes. Little at a time, I can work my way up. I know this. Maybe I started with 2 or 3 squats, but the point I was getting at is I do 10 squats in the morning. Just squat down. Sometimes I can squat pretty low, sometimes I can't. But I do 10. I also do 10 decline push-ups. So I'm like this. Say this is my knees. They're on the exercise ball. So not only am I doing push-ups, I got to keep my balance because I'm on an exercise ball. And I do 10 every day. And for my stomach, because my chiropractor reminded me, posture isn't just about strengthening your back, it's about your abdomen as well. So I sit on an exercise ball like this. I did 25 yesterday. I go back until I feel my abdomen stretch. I stop. I come forward. Then I use my abdomen to lift myself up. Then I go back. Now it's starting to tighten just from giving you this example. Go back. I can feel the abdomen stretch. Stop. It's getting tight. Now I can focus on the abdomen, solely doing this exercise. Come up, then lift my upper body up. I do that. So I'm doing these 3 exercises now. I'm starting all over again, just like I did before, but I don't care. I want to keep moving. I'm not ready to quit. Make it an amazing day. Make it. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of day you're going to have. And not just that. Make it an amazing life. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of life you're going to have. So why not have a good one? I hope to see you in the next video. Or I'll see you in the next video, hopefully. Johan out. Peace.